Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Raheem here. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers and sisters, this is a great time. Some might say a fantastic time. Never been a time like this. Only time that comes anywhere near close is the beginning of the creation, our self-creation. And now this is the restoring. The universe expands into its maximum expansion. It's a form of decay because it started the best and it gets weaker and weaker and weaker until we get to the point of energy deprivation, and then the restoration takes place, and where we return and we start being energized, re-energized, getting more energy, more energy, more energy. In the beginning, we got less and less and less energy. We start out as fierce beings, powerful beings, and energy it decreased. Over 76 trillion years, it decreased because all the energy that used to be here is out there. The stars, the galaxies, the planets that we put out there. So now we return energy back to the earth. It's momentous in the heavens and the earth, but it becomes you above a set. It comes every 50 years in a wave called jubilees. It energizes the earth. Earth transforms the energy into form we can use, which is happening now. Every 50 years, just track it. Just track every 50 years from now, backwards, and see every 50 years there was dramatic increase in energy, dramatic change in the world, a dramatic change in our situation. And this will be the most dramatic since the first increase, which happened in the 1860s. A full separation, total freedom from both plagues, the plague of devils and the plague of demons. Elijah removed the plague of devils to those who received him. And Joshua, it will remove the plague of the demons. Jesus will remove the plague of the demons. Elijah removed the plague of the devils. That's happening as we speak. Oh, a great time, brothers and sisters. This project started with Dr. Shabazz 50,000 years ago to prepare us for these times. 50,000 years of preparation. And now we're seeing the end of it, the culmination of that process. And most of us don't understand it. We're put in the furnace of affliction. What does that mean? You put something in the furnace to purify it. You put gold, root of gold, put it in the furnace to purify it. See? Burn off all imperfections, little tied tongue here, impurities. Burn off all impurities. That's happening now. The impurities are in the form of scriptees and time anchors. That's what's being burned off. Those that are no longer moving through time. See, that's the graveyard. No one's moving through time. They have stopped moving through time. So you're dead. You're not moving through time, you're dead. And scriptees and time anchors are no longer moving through time. They want to hold on to the past. This is not just a process happening to us. It's a process happening throughout the world. It's a process, a time-honored process that's been going on since the creation, called culling. Because we're time travelers. We move through time. There's no end for us because we constantly move through time. We adapt and adjust and keep moving through time. Those that can't adapt and adjust, they're lost in time. Now, Faraj said we will not return until we have a thorough knowledge of self. What does that mean? Thorough knowledge means complete. Thorough means complete. But most of you don't understand what that means. Some of you think, well, you got to learn about Islam. Or do you know about Islam? Do you understand what Islam is? So Islam is mathematics. Mathematics is Islam. But do you hear any of these so-called imams and scholars talk about mathematics? No. They have no idea what that is. The 5 pillars of Islam, they don't even see that in a mathematical way. And they're all mathematics. I've shown that. Anyone took time to look and listen, it's all mathematical principles. So how can they have a thorough knowledge of self to understand the mathematics that is ourself? Because everything is mathematics. We're the essence of the mathematics. We're the consciousness of the mathematics. And I've explained to you the mathematic system, context is pressure. Pressure is force is the most fundamental form of mathematics. Without pressure, there's nothing. Without force, there's nothing. If pressure is just force spread out, it's just force. Without force, there's nothing. It's most fundamental. It's the equal sign. Every action has an opposite equal reaction. That means what's on one side equal sign has to be on the other side. Everything balances. Everything has to give an account. That's what we're talking about, judgment. Everything will be accounted for. There's nothing that will escape that. Nothing. Never has, never ever will. And this is beautiful when you understand it. Because the reason why our people are going through tribulation, because they have to come to the conclusion, they have to come to understanding that pressure is thorough knowledge of pressure is thorough knowledge of yourself. Without it, you will not have thorough knowledge of yourself. It's very simple when you think about it. Pressure moves in one direction. Greater pressure moves towards lower pressure. Lower pressure does not move towards greater pressure. It moves in one direction. So the greater your pressure, if you have the greater pressure, overwhelm the weaker pressure or lower pressure. That's the way it works. Only one way. And thought is pressure. Thought is pressure. Pressure is force. It takes force to move anything. How do you move your body? You move it with thought. Now thought, when you have no thought, your body moves no more. When you're dead, that means you have no more thought. Your body moves no more. Because you need force to move it. Only way it will move, someone else has to move it. You have to get close. You have to get very intimate with that concept, brothers and sisters. Because it's what's going to save you. So if you have superior thought, then you overwhelm those who have inferior thought because they have inferior pressure. That's what's happening to KB now. Now that we are rising up and our thought pressure is becoming greater and greater and greater, is greater than theirs because they don't have the capability. They do not have the capability to have that much pressure. They can't contain that much pressure because they have a weaker vessel. Their brain is weaker. So the pressure that we have will burst apart their vessels because it's weaker. It cannot withstand the pressure our vessels can withstand because our vessels were made under the most intense pressure there is. That means the total contraction of the universe. You can't get any more pressure than that. That's one of the reasons why we have all the elements in the universe found in the earth. Because the earth was basically a center of a star, the greatest star ever. And all that energy you see out there was the atmosphere. And so under that intense pressure, that's what it takes to produce iron and gold and all those metals. It takes intense pressure. And the reason why no other planet has what we have. You will not find another planet in the universe have all the elements on it that we have. No, you won't find it. And in proportion, right, in exact proportion it needs to be. Because all that, it not only produced us, but it produced all the elements that's on the earth. That's in the earth. So you understand that. But the point one I want to make here is that having thorough knowledge of self, not just knowledge, you have to understand it. You have to live it. So when you take and apply the 5 principles and you upload the angel, right, then you have maximized. The more you do it, the more pressure pressurized you become. Because thought is pressure. So the more powerful your brain is, the greater pressure. And thought is pressure. You hear from pressure. Pressure waves. You're talking. Pressure waves. See? Even smell. Everything is pressure. So if you are emitting greater pressure than someone else, that means they have a lower pressure brain, then you're going to master them. They can't affect you because pressure moves in one direction. Higher pressure to lower pressure. You see it right now in the world. You understand these things. Look at the music that's coming from us. Come from some demons too, because they got a little bit of us in them. But the pressure is coming from us. The music is moving the whole world. That's what music is. Pressure is harmonic pressure. That's what it is. And it's moving the whole world. More and more every day. And we're just stirring now. We haven't woken yet. We haven't awakened yet. You have to understand. It's very simple when you understand it. So and that's why the time anchors and the scriptees and those folks, they get lost in time. Because the pressure is too great for them to move forward into time. Because move forward in time means they have to deal, because the pressure increases. Remember, in this time period, because we're in this resurrection of the universe, the pressure increases. When in expansion, the pressure decreases. That's how cable was made in a time of low pressure. That's why I say it was created in haste. But now pressure is increasing. It's increasing. So, in order to move forward in time, you had to be able to adjust to greater, more intense pressure, which KV cannot. And time anchors, the scriptees, and the time anchors, they cannot either. That's why they lost the time. That's why they're trying to stop time, trying to hold time back. Oh man, and the Sunnis, oh man, we got to go back to Prophet Muhammad's time. They're trying to get back. They're trying to get this pressure off of them. Because the pressure times they can't handle it. We got to go back when there's less pressure. You understand what's going on here? They want to go back to Elijah's time. Oh, we'll have less pressure, because that pressure, they could thrive back there because it was low pressure. It was less pressure than it is now. But the pressure is increasing, and they can't keep up with it. And all this stuff happening around them is blowing their minds away. They saw none of this coming. That's why they're holding on. Let's go back to the Prophet Muhammad. Let's go back to Elijah's time. Let's go back to Jesus' time. They want to go back because that's what happens. When you're in a lot of pressure, try to get that pressure off of you. So they're trying to get the pressure of time off of them. New revelations come to deal with the greater pressure, but they can't deal with that. Angel comes to deal with this greater pressure. They can't deal with it. I don't want that. Because they can't do it. Because their mind can't handle it. Their mind is too weak to handle, you understand, the pressure of the angel. So don't worry about them. Read Exodus. A whole generation was lost in the wilderness. The generation that came out of Egypt was lost in the wilderness. The generation of Elijah. Remember, this happened in Elijah's absence. They was lost in the wilderness because they didn't have, they were too weak. They would see Abraham, but they were just too weak to move on. See, they were still stuck back in Master's plantation. Some of them even desire to go back to that. You listen to them. Listen to them. Some even desire to go back to the plantation if you listen to them. Listen to some of these Negroes out there, especially the demons. You listen to them, you think, man, we had a good time on the plantation. Some of them did because they was house niggers. That's what it's all about. Now you can be foolish and have the ability, but not apply it. You have to put the work in. That's one of the signs of Farad Muhammad, Master Farad Muhammad. He's a made God. And they say, well, I mean, do you listen to these people? Well, right, this Christ, right? Elijah Muhammad said the Christ will be self-taught. Without a letters behind his name, will be self-taught. You read your lessons, Farad was not self-taught. He said his father taught him. So it could be talking about him, and it could be talking about Elijah because he wasn't self-taught because Farad taught him. And even Elijah Farrakhan missed that Elijah taught him, so it could be talking about any of them. Do you pay attention to this stuff? I am self-taught. Nobody taught me a damn thing. I've studied under Elijah Muhammad, but what I'm teaching you is not, I didn't get that from Elijah Muhammad. I didn't get the angel from him. No one taught me the angel. I made it very clear. I'm not representing Elijah Muhammad. His time is past. I'm the fulfiller of what Elijah Muhammad taught. I'm the fulfiller. He was the messenger pointing towards me. So we're not even going to worry about that. I said, I don't, people want to argue. We don't, look, when you have the truth, you don't argue. Only fools argue. Would you argue if somebody say, your name is not your name, you're going to argue with her about that? That means you're not sure it's your name yourself. I don't argue with anybody. Said it was 2 resurrections. So when I'm going to, what I want to do is I'm going to go into this presentation because I'm really pushing this issue about what's about to happen because it's only happened a few days. I mean, if you've been watching the news, they're talking about Trump pushing troops in the Middle East and all this stuff, and Israel going all this trouble, and now tensions rising between Iran and America stuff. We're there, brothers and sisters. And what I'm trying to point out to you is that those of you that are still moving through time, don't be foolish. What the Quran says, would you advise other people to do, to the truth, and then you don't take and observe it yourself? It's all about pressure. So to optimize your salvation, you get out there and you do follow 5 pillars of Islam. Now, if you want to hang out and drink and smoke and wear revealing clothes, and that's for the females, and I mean some of the guys too. You want to do that? You're still going. You're going home. Well, I'm gonna say something about that in a second. But you may not go home the way you want to go home. You want to go home crippled or missing a limb or something because you was foolish. You want to go home because you want to go in hereafter 100%. And so therefore you maximize, because what's this whole virus is about? They tell you the better health you in, right? The less chance you're going to have it affect you. Again, that's pressure again. That's physical pressure. So the thing is make yourself as physically forceful and mentally forceful, which is pressure, mentally forceful and physically forceful as you can. See? That's what you need to do to guarantee, you understand, that no hair on your head will be harmed. Then you have a thorough knowledge of yourself. That's how we know you have a thorough knowledge of yourself. Because if you don't do that, it's not. Look, this is not a question. It's like you're saying, okay, I'll get lucky. See, luck is just force. It's just positive energy, which is pressure again. That means force. Luck is just you got greater pressure than your pressure in you is greater than pressure around you. That's what luck is. There's no such thing as luck as that. Like you think it's just, oh well, nothing just happened to me for some unknown phenomena. No, it's a mathematical principle. Let's call it luck. The term is used in the Quran. See, pressure reveals all flaws. Pressure reveals all flaws. The pressure on it, if it got a flaw, it's going to crack. It's comprehensive. So don't be foolish. Make those slots, do your fasting as much as you can. Study, get your mind, get that Al-Injil uploaded, because it's the book, it's the knowledge you need. It's the software you need that can survive the pressure of what's coming. Because if you pay attention, this stuff's coming at you like a heart attack, like a tornado. And if your mind ain't ready to handle it, your mind's going to be crushed. And the Angel is the only book that's giving you the mind that's going to handle it. It's telling you everything that's going to happen and when it's going to happen. That's why they reveal these books, so you have foresight, so you not be surprised by anything, because you know exactly what's happening, right? You have you have to see everything that's happening around you. You understand, so it won't bother you. Those that don't, they're going to be confused, and that's going to be part of it. So their mind's going to be crushed. Understand, brothers and sisters? That's why you have to upload the Angel. And you have to do your fasting and slots. You have to do all those different things. That's the 5 pillars of Islam to make you as powerful, because Yahuwah already did it for the physical part. That's the whole idea, to make it as strong as possible. He couldn't do it for the mental part because we wasn't in it, because we have 50,000 years before we reach this period. So we could use this. We could use Angel 50,000 years ago. It wouldn't have made any sense. It wouldn't have done us any good. But it's right now we're in it. So why the tribulation? Because they have to get thrown out themselves too. And the only way they're going to survive the tribulation, that's why you're going to see in this presentation that Suleiman, or Joshua, or Jesus, whatever you want to call him, right? As soon as the war starts, right? He has to go and clean up the NOI. That's why it says he will come to his temple. He had to clean with full of soul. He had to clean them up and get them, teach them the Angel. They don't have much time, and get them uploaded. Those that pay attention, right? He first got to get rid of the demons. See, remember, he's got to get a man in his right mind first before he sends us out. Read about the demon-possessed man in the book of Mark. Jesus had to give him his mind back. First, he had to remove the demons from him and give him his mind back, and then he sent him back to witness. And now they have to walk through. They have to go back into the furnace because they stepped out of the furnace. They got to go back in the furnace. And that's the tribulation. And so when they go through it and they apply, those that are applying those things, then they're going to come to the realization that that's what it's all about. Pressure. And they understand the nature of it, essence of it. Because they're going to walk through it, and all this stuff that be happening is not going to touch us. Not one hair of the hair will be harmed. Those that falter or doubt, they're not going to make it. So those who know who their God is, those are the ones going to make it. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, brothers and sisters. But that's why they got to go through. So then they understand the nature of themselves. They have a thorough knowledge of themselves, what it's all about. And they won't be deceived by anybody anymore. Because they know that as long as they maintain, increase their pressure, right? The Islam, the wisdom, that nothing will hurt them, nothing will harm them. Then they come into the hereafter that, like that way. See? They have a thorough knowledge of themselves then. That's what thorough knowledge of self is. Not thorough knowledge of the angel, because the angel won't be here forever. He'll just be here to get us through this period. Pressure is the nature of the universe, and it'll be forever. Force is the nature of the universe. That's what the universe is, so it can't be anything other than that. And that's if that's what it is, and that's the nature of our creation. That's the only way you have thorough knowledge of self. You have to have thorough knowledge, understanding of pressure, and you get that. I'm teaching it to you, those that are listening. But I'm just telling you, right? It's not very complicated, but it's well, I just try to make it simple. I reduce it to very simple, just for us, and you apply it to yourself. Apply it to your mind, your brain, your body, and your mind. You have to all three. 5 pillars of Islam. You make yourself as physically strong as possible, physically healthy as possible. You have this smoking, getting high, and everything. You gotta stop doing that. Make yourself mentally as possible, right? Study, and you get the right load, the right mind. It's point studying if you're studying the wrong thing. See? Then you walk, because it's well, like what I said, they won't hear the faintest sounds of the raging and roarings of hell. So that means they'll be qualified. Say, who will be able to stand? Pray all that you be removed from these things, because you've already met the test. So why leave? You already passed the test. So hey, you can go home. Once you pass the test, why you stick around for? So you pulled out of here. You're in the Lamb's Book of Life. You pulled out of here. Even if you stay, nothing will happen to you anyway. But why you don't need to be around smelling the mess and all the crap that's going on? Because you already passed the test. Just kick on out here. You passed the test. You passed the test, brothers and sisters. Okay, you out of here. See? Those that haven't passed the test, they get a chance to do a remake. That's what they call it. Okay, brothers and sisters, I hope you understand that. I was going to do a couple of things, but I'm just focused on this because I don't want to get too many things going here, get people distracted. So let's go into the presentation. Right. I'm trying to explain this whole idea about the 2 resurrections. Okay, the two resurrections. There's 2 resurrectors, and about the post for when resurrection. That's what we focus on, and what the thing that's about to happen right now, and some of the things that surrounding it. So take a short break here, and then we'll move into it. Okay. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's move into the presentation. Let me see here. Obliterate, annihilate, genocide. That's their plan for us. So let's move in and let's do some analysis here. First, I want to just talk a little bit about Ezekiel, the story behind the two resurrections. I'm not going to go a lot of detail here, but I will point out a few obvious things, a couple of obvious things. The hand of the Lord was upon me and carried me out, and the Spirit of the Lord set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, caused me to pass by them round about. Behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, very dry. He said unto me, Son of man, Suleiman. That's where Son of Man comes from, Suleiman. It's Latin. Son of man. Can these bones live? I answered, O Lord, thou knowest. And again he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, shall live. I will lay sinews upon you, bring upon you flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, ye shall live, you shall know that I am the Lord. Okay. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, holy shaking, and bones came together, bone to bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. But there was no breath in them. But there was no breath in them. Then said unto me, prophesy to the wind, prophesy, son of Suleiman, and say to the wind, thus saith Lord, come from the four winds. Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, and they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me. Breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. There's two resurrections there. The first one, but it had no. See, so he said, and thus said Lord, and these bones, well, I will cause breath. There was a great amount and thus said Lord unto these bones, I will cause breath into you, shall live, and I will lay sinews upon you, bring upon your flesh, and cover you with skin. For breath in you shall live, and you shall know I am the Lord. Right? First resurrection. And I commanded and said, and as I prophesied, there was doors, holy shaking, the bones came together, bone to bone. When I beheld, and sinews and flesh came upon, and the skin covered above, but there was no breath in them. See, the first he said they will live, so they're alive. There's no breath in them. And again, see, he says right here, and ye shall. And the fifth verse, thus says the Lord unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter in you, and you shall live. See, so they're alive, right? Okay. And he prophesies, right? But there was no breath in them. There was life, but no breath in them. Okay. Then he said unto me, prophesy to the wind, prophesy, son of man, Suleiman, say to the wind, thus said Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath will be, and breathe upon these slain, they may live. And I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came to them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. So there's two resurrections there. Okay, there's two. First one before the four winds, one after the winds. First came together, there's no breath in them. Second one, right, there's breath in them. Okay? So first came alive but no breath. Second one came alive but had breath. Two resurrections there. Then he said to me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. That's the one that's alive, the last one, right? They have breath in them. Behold, their bones are dried and hope is lost, and we come from our part. Their prophesy saying, thus said, Lord, behold, what people open up your graves and cause you to come out of your graves. See, we're in their graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Bring you into the land of Israel. Bring you into the land of Israel. Why is lying Farrakhan said we're not going anywhere? So he's calling God a liar. See, the second is, I will bring you to the land of Israel. And you know, I am the Lord. When I open your graves, O my people, and brought you out of your graves, I put my spirit in you. Spirit, those you pay attention, focus on spirit, you shall live. I shall place you in your own land. Your own land. Then you should know, I, the Lord, have spoken it and performed this, saith the Lord. Your own land. Farrakhan said, I'm not going anywhere. I show he's a liar. He's working for Satan. Otherwise, you call this a liar. That's why it said the scriptures corrupt. So you said 1,000 years ago, they were so wise, they was able to figure out a book that's sealed, right? So they figured out, they knew Farrakhan was coming, they knew he was going to be here and all that kind of stuff. They said, let's change these scriptures so they be confused. See? That's what he's trying to tell you. See? So that's why it's corrupt. See? Because these scriptures didn't change yesterday. So it was changed thousands, because they found the Dead Sea Scrolls from 1,000 years ago. And it's still the same as today. So these people were so wise way back there. Let's change these few verses and confuse them dumb niggers. And the word of the Lord came to me again, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick. Okay, I'm not going to go into all that here. But I think there was a couple things I think I wanted to point out here. Behold, I will take the children from among the heathen. That's the devils, where they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. I'll make them one nation and land upon the mountains of Israel. One king shall be king to them, and they all shall be no more two nations. Neither shall be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall be defiled themselves any more with their idols. So you can read that. This is Ezekiel. And David, who is David? Farah, my servant shall be king over them. They shall have one shepherd. Okay? And they shall dwell in the land I have given unto Jacob, my servant, where their fathers have dwelt. Where their fathers have dwelt. It's not in America. See? To dwell in their own land. They should dwell in the land I gave unto Jacob, my servant. You see? Where your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell. Man, we talk about Ishmael and Jacob and Isaac, right? Joseph came out of Jacob. And where your fathers have dwelt, they shall dwell there, and even they and their children forever. That sounds like America to you. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. That's Farad. Now I know some of you are confused about who is this Lord person. Well, we'll talk about that one day. Okay, so let's go into the presentation here. If that's why they don't want you to read these scriptures, brothers and sisters, because any reading of the scriptures, they wouldn't survive 1 second. Yet they claim they are the scriptures. They claim that they have the scripture. They understand it. Yet one reading of it will shut them down in an instant. So why they keep putting scriptures down your throat? Their interpretation of their trend, their distortion of it, right? But they tell you, oh, well, it's corrupt. Well, it's corrupt. Why even bother with it all? So if either it's corrupt or it's not. It's corrupt, then why you bother with it all? If it's not corrupt, then how can they explain these things? They can't. And we're not distorting. We just telling you scripture. We're just putting it together, and there's no contradictions in anything we're saying here, because every time you look, just confirmation of everything we've been saying. Okay, so here we are right here. Now, we're not exactly here right now. Would you see? We were there. This is where the year started out like this. Those of you pay attention, angel, this is where the year started out, right? This is where we are right now. The contention between Iran, the king of the king of the North, Iran, and the king of the South, America. And now you see the sackcloth, those witnesses, right? They're rising up. There's good tension in the Middle East. See, there's a whole lot here I'm not going to talk about, but it says the plague, the virus is really hitting Europe right now, and it's moving to America quick, and in fact, it's getting out of hand in America, so they will be able to spread these viruses. You also see the demons, right? That's a demon there. That greenish, they say pale horse nose, greenish yellow. It's like a locust. It's a pale. That's the says the locust plague. First locust plague will last 5 months. That started in May, and we're the 5th month now, September. So I'm not going into all the details there, but that's where we are, right? I think I made an issue. Let me see. Okay, I keep doing this. Let me just straighten this out, brothers and sisters. I'm just going to straighten it out because I'm not going to, for some reason, this is a ghost in this machine. Let's keep on. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to. Oh, wow. Here we go. Here we go. Let me fix that right quick, brothers and sisters. This, for some reason, I keep. No, not that one. Okay, let me shut it down and bring it back. Okay, nope, nope, nope. This, okay. Straight. And this one. One more moment, almost there. For some reason, it's like a mental block. I keep just forgetting to do this. Okay, is that it? Okay, I'm good to go now. Okay, good to go. Okay, brothers and sisters. I said this where we were, this where we are right now. See, the demons are raging, right? The locusts, right? Contention between the the witnesses, which is Iran and Syria, which is read chapter 11 says they spread these plagues, right? So right now it's an outbreak in Europe, in the East and Western Europe. Okay, and that's where we are right now. That's where we're getting ready to be. Okay, America and false Israel and Britain, see, be right here. They're in conflict. They're at war. They're at war with Iran and Syria. Full-fledged war. King of the North versus King of the South. That's what's about to happen. That's what's about to happen. That's Michael and his angels go to war with the dragon and his angels. That's Gog, Magog, and Dajjal against Michael and his angels, right? Which are the Shia, that Michael Farad is the Shia's 12th Imam. That war is about to break out anytime now. If you pay attention to the news, it's getting very hot over there. Trump is moving troops over there. He's putting more pressure on Iran. See, he's threatening. And Israel is being taken down by the plague all by itself. Okay. Now, right here. They just won the war. Just kicked America and Britain and false Israel out of the Middle East. At least America and Britain. False Israel has been taken. See? America and Britain is thrown out. They cannot help false Israel. That's what's about to happen, right? Now, when this happens, this is very important. See his blinking there, right? If you understand what I've been saying about Adam and Eve, it's so that those two, the green and the black, represents the tree of knowledge of good and tree of knowledge of evil. It's not one tree. There's no tree that produces two fruits. Yet several trees. You have the tree of good, tree of knowledge of good, the tree of knowledge of evil. You have the tree of life. Right? I'm not going into details about that, but that's what's happening. It says they was told not to eat it, but they ate anyway. If you eat something, it means you get rid of it. If you eat something right, you get rid of it. Destroy it. It no longer exists. And that's what they told not to do. They was told, remember the story of Job? They could beat him, torment him, but they could not kill him. And this is what happens when they lose their war, right? Because this was one of their plans. You have to understand. I'm going to spend a couple of seconds on this, brothers and sisters, because it's very important. What you don't understand. You have to understand the nature of what's going on here. The reason why false Israel was set to begin with, because Elijah Muhammad proclaimed that we was the true seed of Abraham. That's his proclamation. And that proclamation, right, rattled the whole West, especially America. It shook up the whole West, especially America. Because if that's true, that puts everything in perspective. That means they are devils. That means what? That means that everything that Elijah Muhammad said about them is true. That they over here, they've been oppressing us, and that we're the true seed of Abraham. That means they're going to come under judgment, that God's going to destroy them, that they're wicked, everything he said. All the whole scriptures, everything comes into focus. And that Christianity is a fraud. See? And so suddenly, what happened? The people they hated for thousands of years, remember, they just got finished putting them up through chimneys. The Jews, the false Jews or Jews, they just got finished burning them out, and nobody cared. Nobody tried to stop it. They didn't go to war to stop. America didn't go to war to stop them from the Holocaust. They didn't go to war for that. They went to war because they were protecting Britain. That Britain has got America to the war. America wasn't going to have anything to do with that war. And another thing you might want to check: the largest population, population of Europeans in America, that's in the background, are most even German. I was surprised myself to find that out. Check it out. Most people in the largest ethnic European group in America are German from Germany. And you might be check it out. You might be surprised. I was surprised. They wasn't going to war with Germany. And when they asked Hitler about his racist policy. They said, well, we got that from America. They didn't care. They wasn't getting us that war. They only got in that war because to protect Britain, because that's Britain and America is tied, it's Adam and Eve. They tied the hip. They didn't care about those Jews. Not one of those camps was ever bombed in the whole war. They knew what those camps were. Not one of those concentration camps where they was burning up was attacked during the war. Not one of them. They knew where they were. They didn't care. They hated these people for 1,000 years. But suddenly, they started loving them. And suddenly their ass became honeypots. Why was that? Suddenly, because what Elijah Muhammad was saying, because now we know that these guys people, if these black folks are the real Jews, man, we got a hard road ahead of us. God's against and everything. We can't have a population thinking that, because everybody got to think America's blessed, and Jesus gave us America. He came over here himself. He was over here. He was on the same boat with Columbus. I mean, he showed Columbus the way. If you listen to them talking, and now we the true seed of Abraham, what they've done to us for 400 years. Oh, they couldn't have that narrative, so they had to crush it. So they had to all of a sudden find somebody to fulfill that position. So, okay, suddenly the Jews' asses become honeypots, and everybody's eating the honey. They loved them. They gave them own, remember, because that was prophecy. They had to be return their own land. So they brought Jews from everywhere, from Russia, every place down there. Took those Palestinians' land, right, and gave it to them and set them up, right? Kind of nation be set up overnight. They pretend it was set up overnight. It wasn't set up overnight, several years. But that's what they were saying, because they had to have them. See, they're the children of Israel. That means we the children of Ham. That means because the story they tell us, that's why Elijah Muhammad called it the poison book, because they're using the Bible again, not because there's something wrong with the Bible, because of the way they use it. Because they claim we was Ham, we was the cursed people, and we the only reason why we was black because we was cursed. We were all white. And as soon as you buy into that too, I'm not going to all the details. As soon as you buy into that too, we got cursed black. You see, when it's the other way around, we got cursed black. And so we was born to be servants because we was cursed, because we did something that was unmentionable. So therefore we was cursed to be servants. But that's so being over here in slavery was God's will. You see? And so we was being punished according to Farrakhan, who was sinner, being punished. He's on board with this bullshit. He's their spokesman. But you don't listen to him. See? You just, I love Farrakhan. See? The man that's supposed to be the son of man, but and you say, well, the son of man is the first one in chapter 1 of Revelation. He's supposed to have hair like lamb's wool. Well, Farrakhan hair lamb's wool? He got feet like copper? Really? Light skin? I ain't like copper. You see copper look like that all ever. See? So it's all bullshit. And it's these demons that's pushing it. See? So they had to take and have a narrow narrative. So we deserve. So if we came, we were sinful and everything, punished. You can't get mad at the warden and the guards for punishing the prisoners. You see the point where you're getting at? So we ain't going nowhere because we ain't got nowhere to go, because we ain't nobody promising anything. We lucky to be here. We should be grateful that white folks treat us nice, because we deserve to be punished, because we evil people. So they be nice to us, right? And they give us citizenship and let us vote and give us jobs. And we should be happy because they treat us better than God said they should, because we supposed to be served, we beat and everything. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, they're absolved of all they've done. So that's why they had to have a current, there's other points that I can talk about, not just that, about this Mongolism thing, all that kind of stuff. All that stuff they had to do to cover up what Elijah Muhammad was teaching. But this is the central thing. This central thing right here. Who is the true seed of Abraham? That's very important. So that's why they spent billions of dollars. America's pretty much bankrupted itself trying to keep that narrative alive. All that money, they spent trillions of dollars in the Middle East to keep that narrative alive. That's how important it is to them. You think it's about oil? It has something to do with it. But the fact that the whole thing over there in the Middle East is surrounding Israel, false Israel. The whole thing is all based around that. That's what's going on right there, right now. And America's nearly bankrupt. They are bankrupt, actually, because of that. All this fighting, all these wars, all this stuff. Trying to hold up this narrative that they're the true seed of Abraham. That's how important it is to them. See? Because they're not ever going to sell the fact that they who they really are. Yahuwah's creation. You understand? To be destroyed for their sins and what they've done to us. That they destroyed the true seed, what they did to the true seed of Abraham, the chosen of God. You better think about that, brothers and sisters. So therefore, what's going on right here? So now, what's happening is that the whole idea, if you read the prophecy at once, if you read the prophecy, what I read a little bit earlier, that once Israel is established, the true Israel, they will never be removed. God will bless them and they never will be removed. See, they'll be there never removed, and God will protect them. But now, false Israel has just been taken down. If you read Daniel, a siege that was put under siege and it was taken down, totally destroyed. That's not supposed to happen, and it did happen. That means that all that money they invested, that narrative, everything was a lie, and then that's open to the whole world as a lie, that they was not true Israel. And yet we're sitting right here on the 401st anniversary of the 1619 to 2019, which the 400 years of prophecy says. That's why it says they would have, they would hate, right? They would hate the covenant. They would despise the covenant. Because here we are sitting on the 401st year, 2020, the year after the 400 years, which will be a year of judgment, which would start with a plague that would kill the firstborn, which are the elderly. You get it, brothers and sisters? They don't want you to understand that. You see? And all this trouble and the locusts and all this stuff happening. So they only got one short thing left. Because they went out to get rid of you from the very beginning. They said that first they would start with abortion. 22 million blacks killed in 50 years. And who is part of that? The demons, master's children, his black-faced children. They've been voting for this stuff. And you worshiping them? They master's children, they demons. They could have stopped this stuff. Anyway, so now they got to make their move. Only thing they got to do is get rid of evidence. Get rid of us. See? They tried to strict you with this reparation and everything. They couldn't fill out because I spoke about that. There was complications there. They couldn't get around. See, because of what Elijah Muhammad did. And Farrakhan was supposed to resolve that. When he did, he has it. And they get more and pissed off at him every day. He's supposed to resolve that issue. See, because everybody had to be on board for them to pull that reparations thing. Because there's some people that are not on the board, they still on contract for the covenant, and so they still get the reward. So America still gets punished. If we sell out the covenant, we made a contract with God. So if we take another deal, these reparations, then the contract is null and void, and America's off the hook because they paid us what we did to them. We accepted it. You understand what's happening? That's why they keep pushing this reparation thing. But they have to sell it to everybody. Because some people don't. Then the ones that sold out, they lose theirs. But the ones that didn't, they still get theirs. And America still get punished. See, that was a complication. That's what had the salesman. That's what Farrakhan's job to sell it. And he hasn't been able to do it. See, that's that whole idea about reparations and all that. They'd be glad to give reparations because that would get God off their ass. If we set up a different deal, that's why I said your covenant with death will not stand. There's a whole lot of wisdom behind that. I'm not going to it. Angel wisdom. So the last stand is, right? Is to get rid of you. Said throw them in the river. That right there. That's what happened. They went 8. Told not doing. They did it. That's it. That's the point. They're gonna try to get rid of you. They're setting it up right now. And when that happens, when they lose that war there, right, they understand because it's clear now. Remember, it's going to be crystal clear who you are, who we are. There'd be no doubt about it because false Israel is gone. So, and we remember, here it is, 2020, It's exactly everything on time. We did the 40 years. It came around time. 2020 came with the plague. It's the judgment and all stuff. So it's no doubt at that point. As far as this, we're just gone. So you can't say it's them anymore. So it's no doubt. So now they got to kill you, get rid of you, consume you, annihilate you. That's what it says in Daniel. It says I spoke about that in the last presentation. He says news out of the north and the east, right? That means Britain and America and Iran and false Israel got into it. You see? And so when false Israel was taken, then he said he was wrathful and went forth to annihilate, destroy, and not. Well, he didn't go forth to conquer. He didn't go forth to win or to subdue, right? He said he went forth to annihilate. If you go forth, they use the word annihilate because they meant it. That means to get rid of you totally and leave nothing you behind. No trace. That's when you annihilate something. That means you leave no trace behind. And that's what it said they went to do. And they're going to try, that's what they're going to do. At that point, they're going to come to annihilate us. Get rid of, not just the demons, the saints too, all black folks in there. Just get rid of all. They ain't going to take no chances. Get rid of all of them. See, so you keep on those ideas, shaking their ass and scratching their ass and all this crap they're doing, talking this BS on Facebook. Keep on. See, because you're going to get caught up. So anyway, pay attention. That's what's happening right here, right? But then, that's when it says, right, Suleiman, let me say, suddenly comes to his temple. That's when he comes quick and he cleans it out. See? Because now they listen to him now. Because they're in the process of getting rid of, it's clear they're getting ready to get rid of black folks. So he comes suddenly. Because he comes suddenly to his temple and he gets the demons out of there. Throw them out, clean them out. And he gets them, teach them about, give them understand about the angel. They got to upload the angel, right? Tell them basically what I'm telling you right now. But it's not going to be very quick. So they're going to have to pick on it quick. You're going to tell them, pick a couple people, make sure they understand it so they can tell the rest of them. They'll happen quickly. See? That's why I say, would suddenly come to his temple. Read Malachi, say, would suddenly come. See? Because at this point, they're getting ready to get rid of, I remember that's the first resurrection. They're not tribe of Shabbat, they're tribe of Levites. That's Elijah's first resurrection. That's the widow's son, right? So he comes quickly to help them. See? That's Jesus coming to help the demon-possessed man. To get rid of demons, right? Because they're getting ready to kill him. Right? So he don't come to the Christians, he come there. Okay? So that's you can read on the side there. That's what it says suddenly. Right? So this is when they're getting ready, they're in the process of getting ready to kill black folks. I mean, they ain't getting ready. They're in the process of actually doing, it's like the dagger's coming down. They're firing bullets, right? This was the time when he comes in. Okay? And then, that's why I wanted you to read, I left that right there. Let's go back here. Remember it says, tell me to prophesize toward the four winds for the second one? Because that's what happens. When he does that, see, he comes, he don't come by himself now. Oops, wrong way. Don't come by himself, he comes. And then he calls them for a rod. They hit him hard. See? He calls them for rod. That's why I said prophesy toward the four winds. He calls for rod because him and Farad communicate now. Okay, hit him. Those four winds. Hit America and Britain, right? Those four winds, bam, hit them hard. See, because they're getting ready, they're in the process of getting rid of black folks. So hit them with those four winds. You see? To delay it. Just slow them down. They say it's going to be critical time. I'm trying to make clear for you, brothers. This is not trying to be BSing around. That's what happened. He called, that's what his prophesied to his forwards. Man, because they about to get ready to get rid of you. They ain't about to. I don't know how to put it in a better way. They actually, it's like, the decision already been made. So they already lined the tanks up and everything. Black folks can see it coming. At that point, you can see it coming. See, you see them, the tanks come in, right? The troops moving in. See, that's when he comes and get your mind straight. Elijah Muhammad's NOI, get him straight. That's why he suddenly come to the temple. He gets those demons out of there because demons are part, they with the, they don't understand, but they come to get them too. But see, they still think that they masters on their side. No, master's gonna kill them too. So he throws them out, right? Hits the four winds, bam, hit them, right? What is that like? It's like, is that like, you knock out the tanks, you knock out the soldiers on the way? Is that what that like? Read what the four winds do. That's the four trumpets. Read what those four trumpets do, and then you understand it. See? So hit them. That's what it's going to be like, but this is not a joke. They're going to be marching on in, and these four winds are going to come and set them back. See? Because they're in the process already bringing the troops in and everything's destroyed. What happened in World War II with the Japanese? Then they put them overnight, put them in concentration camps, and they liked them much more than they like you. Brother, I'm trying to make this clear. I'm trying to bring it home to you. So you bullshitting out here playing games, you understand? And you're going to get caught up. So they said it would come like a snare. So you're going to look one more, and all of a sudden, your troops are set out there, and they're moving on into the inner cities because they got you all locked. They know where you're at. All of a sudden, the inner city is surrounded by tanks and artillery and troops come as a snare. And the Democrats are on board with, they're on board with that more than the Republicans are. Both of them are on board with this. Both of them had the same plan to get rid of you, just had different agendas. And they pissed off at Trump because he's messing up their agenda. Because the Republicans have a different agenda. They want such that their hands look clean, make it look like you destroyed yourself. But the Democrats, they are destroyed. They've been destroying you for 50-something years, and then openly. Aborting your children, 22 million in 50 years, sitting on jobs, make sure you don't have no wealth. All your jobs overseas, the ones that's here, they give it away to somebody else, and on and on and on, building prison like left and right, putting you in jail forever for nothing. And this is right, and you don't see this, so they figure you won't see it either. So you wake up one morning, and troops gonna be surrounding in the cities. And tanks, that's what it's telling you. See, and that's when Suleiman's gonna come. They're gonna listen then. See, he's gonna explain to them, understand, so have a thorough knowledge of self. So don't be fearful, because they're gonna be left behind. Remember, he had to remove the demons out of them because they was infiltrators. They think they don't remember because when they think that the masses is not gonna get them, just gonna get, you understand, other black folks. The original people, see the Abraham, you don't get them too. They don't wipe both of them out. But they don't think that. See, so you got to get them out of there. See, because they infiltrators. See, they've been there deceiving black folks for 42 years. You got to get them out of there. See, then give them their right mind. Read the man and Mark. Then give them their mind. See, but then he leaves them behind. Because they can't go, because they have to have a thorough knowledge themselves. So now they got to walk through the fire. And then, but then he surround. So now he calls for, hit him. Hit those four winds, hit him. That's two of the winds right there. Hit him hard. See, to slow him down. Hit them troops. Hit them tanks. That's what the four winds will do. See? Then he leaves. See? When he leaves, right? See? But when he leaves, right? He brings all of them with him. He brings all the blacks with him. See? This is the resurrection. Remember, he's the one that brings the second resurrection. There you go. But he brings the demons, the chaff, and wheat together. Remember, they grab together. But then they separate out. All become together. There's 3 of them, but now all of them come together. He cleans it out of them, but they all come together because now they realize, right? They realize now that they're not just coming after The demons realize they're not just coming after the original people. See, they come after them too. That's when they realize they're coming after them too. See? Because down at the bottom down there, the one at the bottom down there, go back here, right? See on the bottom down there? Because they attacked them, so that's why they know they're going to get them too. You see? So now they know they come at all black folks. So they all come together now. But we don't want the demons. We don't want them. So that's why he's separating. They come together, we separate them out. We don't want them. See? So we cast them out. We leave. See? Now we leave. At that point, we leave them. In other words, we leave them behind. We leave them behind. Remember, what does it say in Daniel? It says, at that time of unprecedented trouble, that means what? The time of death. That's the worst time in your life. That's the time of unprecedented trouble in your life, time of death, because you don't die more than once. That's unprecedented. You only die once. And that's what it says. That's the time when they was getting ready to stab, remember Abraham, the sacrificed son, that's when the son was just about to penetrate his heart and was stopped. That's what he meant, unprecedented trouble. That's time they're going to kill us, right? And then, so that's when Jesus elect, they're out of here. That's what it says, Michael, right, or Farad, at that time, unprecedented trouble, when they trying to, when your death come, at the point of the death, right? When you were supposed to die, when they had death, right, in their heart for you, right, and they was executing it, right? That's what the time that is. So that's when it says, those in the Lamb's book, they're taken out. They're delivered, right? But then you had two groups that weren't. That's the one, the demons down there says, one everlasting shame and appallment, that's the demons, they left behind. And one to everlasting life, he's left behind too. They wasn't delivered. But they had to go through tribulation. Because they don't have everlasting life, they get through a tribulation. See, but that's how they get to the promised land. They have to go through that. I'm not going into the details about that. That's what it's talking about. So we're out of here. Okay? And they're left behind. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I think I've said enough on this. I'm trying to make it clear and clear and clear to you. Because when brothers and sisters, those you pay attention, you'll be okay. Those you're not paying attention, or if you're paying attention and you're applying, if you're just paying attention, sitting back, you understand, running around with no clothes on and getting high and all that stuff, no, brothers and sisters, that's your choice. I'm not here to condemn anybody. You ain't even condemning anybody. I'm just trying to give you information, brothers and sisters. See, I'm here to get you home. That's my job. Okay, brothers and sisters, that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about. Oops. Hope you understand. I hope I didn't mess that up. Anyway, hope you understand. Okay, brothers, I think I'm going to just close it there. We talked about quite a few things, so we'll keep hitting this subject as much as we can as days approach, because it's coming quick. Try to make it clear and clear and clear, brothers and sisters. So let me double check this and make sure I didn't make an error here in the presentation. I'm looking, and I don't have a way to, because I'm doing YouTube Live, is different than Facebook. So anyway, I think it's okay. If not, then I'll fix it. Okay, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.